Okay, I'm back. So apparently my SP is just messing around. So yeah, they literally got me. So we rebooted the computer, right? So now the App Center changed a little bit. As you can see, I'm just loading up again. So we are kind of ready. We need to install the other stuff. I just want to show you that now we have, where are the apps? Oh, App Center is here. So now you see the App Center looks slightly different. This is what we were using before. So here's where we have the live updates. Live updates are supposed to be what we were installing here. We're not going to install anything else because we already have what we want. And then we change to the App Center in general apps. And then here you have configuration from Gigabyte. Most likely I'm going to remove all the software afterwards. But what you want to do here is actually update your BIOS. So I'm going to go to Gigabyte apps, go to BIOS, and then this BIOS updater is what we're going to be using. So right now, this is the BIOS information, flash memory, blah blah blah, BIOS vendor, da da da, and then this is the version that we currently have for the BIOS, B550M, K, and FB version, right? So you can update from a server, from a file, if you download the file and installed it. So I'm just going to go ahead and update from a server. I can choose anyone. I'm going to use USA. And then it's going to ask me, hey, look, do you really want to allow this to connect? Yes. And then from here, it's going to show me all the different versions. So I don't know if you remember when I was showing in the previous stream before it crashed. Thank you, ISP. Yeah, we're back, man. ISP just broke me. So we were in Gigabyte support, and we were downloading the motherboard support info just to look for drivers and firmware B550MK, and then we knew that we wanted the version 1.1. So being here, just go to BIOS, and I'm still going to use the app because that's what they have, but I just want to confirm. So that's a good version. Apparently is March 27, 2024 FD version, where it fixes AMD processor vulnerabilities. For me, this is a win, is what I need. I'm here, this is the next step. Now, I think I've explained this before on previous streams or previous builds. You don't jump versions, you go one by one, so it's an upgrade path. So right here, we are in FB, we're going to FD. So we select this here, click on next. Now the cool thing is that, you know, back in the day it was kind of scary to update the BIOS. You would have to do this in the off state, turn it off, get a USB, flash the USB, and then boot from the USB from the BIOS, and then from there use a flasher, and the flasher would get the files from the USB thumb drive. But now things have changed. We can use apps like this one here, which are already built in or dedicated specifically for the motherboard. Now you see this, the Q flash. I mean, at the end it's still the same thing. They're still loading the flasher. That's what we're currently running on. Just that now we can do it from the UI in the operating system, and that will trigger this. Before you had to know, like, hey, look, you need to clear out your USB thumb drive, make sure that it's a FAT32 or something like that, and then put in the file specifically the way they needed to be in a specific folder with a proper format so that your BIOS could read it. Now it's friendlier, and now you can download them using the app instead of having to search for them like I've been searching. So does it mess the motherboard if you skip BIOS versions? To be honest, not really. But BIOS updates are still old school. When I say old school, is like every single version is an incremental solution for a problem or a fix. So usually, in my experience, newer versions of the BIOS update, they don't retroactively bring solutions from the other side, because they are patching specific issues. So what I recommend is going step by step, because every single step fixes a specific issue. So I don't know if you noticed when we were looking into the BIOS information from the browser, it specifically said that it was correcting certain vulnerabilities from the CPU for AMD, and it had like a specific version, and then it had like the log fail blah blah blah. Well, that is because that BIOS version update was focused on solving that issue, not necessarily is updating any kind of firmware or functionality, is fixing a problem. So when I see those kind of BIOS updates, I'd rather make sure that I install those. And then after I install that one, I can go back and check to see if there's any changes. And most likely, usually, after you install that firmware or that BIOS update, then when you check again, the newer version or the next version that is supposed to come up is going to show in the list. That's when there are vulnerabilities. If there are regular updates, sometimes you can just go ahead and look for the latest one. But I always go and check which version I'm currently running, and I check to see which are the other versions that came out, and check if they have vulnerability fixes. Yeah, this is when it gets kind of scary. I mean, I've done this multiple times, but right now it's still finishing installing certain things, so it's taking a while to load up. I know it's on because I can see the lights coming up. There you go. I recommend, like, if you're not used to doing this, don't try it on your own, because sometimes people might get somewhat antsy, or they'll be worried because they don't see any kind of movement. So they either reboot the computer or they touch something else, and there's where they break it. I think one of our viewers, the last time we streamed a computer build, were asking like, hey, look, I don't like doing this. And they, after they watched our video, our live stream, they had the courage to do their own. And I mean, they were happy they were able to upgrade it. The thing is that it's funny with BIOS updates, because sometimes it feels like if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I usually recommend being up to date with your BIOS, because those fix other issues like temperature issues in your motherboard and stuff like that. So now, from being on B550M KFB version, we are now in FD version. And then I can always go back and check to see from the server to see if there's any other new version. So remember that we were looking into, and we saw that there was FB, FD, and then after FD there was like FE something. So I believe we don't need to check anything else here. We don't need to update anymore, because FD is the current version we're running on. We can also look into our CPU ID. Yeah, this keyboard is kind of loud because it's a mechanical keyboard, so it sounds pretty loud. So we came from FB, now we're in FD, and as you can see, this was necessary. This is mandatory because of the vulnerability that I was mentioning. FEB is not really necessary. It's just an update, regular update, so no big deal. And then this one, which is the latest one, FEE, came up here, and then this one also has the vulnerability of AMD processors. And this was released a little too soon. I don't like using recent releases that are too close unless there's something that is broken that needs to be addressed. So as you can see, now we go to motherboard, And now we have our FD version. And this is from March 22nd, 2024. Yeah, discrepancies in the time frame, but same difference. So now this is our model, and it's saying this is up to date. Force a reflash, but I close it now. We don't need to reflash it. So we're gonna stay in FD because that's what they're saying that it's okay. I could install this, but as I mentioned, it's too soon. So now we have everything that we needed from that side. We have the BIOS, we have the chipset, and we have basic drivers. So the next step is, interesting, look at that. So NVIDIA, because Windows 11 is trying to play smart, they installed the NVIDIA control panel, which already has the RTX 3060, which means that I can now, I'm supporting NVIDIA products, so I can come over here and change my resolution to something that makes more sense. So right now I'm in 1080. I can go bigger by going to 2K, which is not shown here, so I have to update the driver as well. So I think we're good for now. There's nothing else that I need here. I got all that I wanted. So next step, we are going to update the driver, and for that you need to have the NVIDIA. I usually install, I'll be back in a minute. I usually install the GeForce Experience because it automatically releases the drivers, and it helps you also optimize your software. But if you don't want that, because that actually has telemetry and it requires you to have an account now, and it kind of sucks really bad. But you can also look for the driver. So I know that this is the 3060. So you go like see, like so, RTX 30 series, and then 3060, Windows 11. Game ready driver, start search. Like literally, you can do this and just update it, and you don't need to use the GeForce Experience. I like GeForce Experience because it optimizes you for your game, but you can just use these. This is October 22nd, so that's 5 days ago. There is no way I'm gonna do that. So for drivers, especially for graphics drivers, GPU, I never update immediately. In theory, they're planned and they were tested. But no, sorry. My experience has taught me that that is not the way to go. And then we're gonna start getting other stuff. Then we still need to set up audio. We're getting that driver, and then okay. So I think for now we're gonna so it's the Sakura Power. This build is, I really like it. It's cute. I'm still gonna do a couple of changes. I still need to install a couple of drivers. As you saw, I was downloading the driver for NVIDIA. I'm gonna get Steam. I'm gonna get the drivers for the RAMs to see if we can change the colors of the RAM, and then probably do a glamour shot, finish up, do benchmarking, test the CPU and the GPU. Probably get some gains to figure out if how they run good enough, and then do some scoring, and then we can probably call it a day. Make sure that all the drivers are functional, then pack it up, and then have it ready for delivery. So So I'm gonna stop the stream for now because my ISP is just messing around. It's just being ridiculous. It's pissing me off right now. It's all red on the connection, and it's lame because the computer can't actually stream. I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm quite certain that it's the internet. So I have to figure that out, and I really don't want to continue having a stream that is just messing up with the internet. So I'm gonna chill for now. I'm gonna get something to eat, and I'm gonna most likely either have another stream later today if I get to sort out my internet. But besides that, I will let you know what is the outcome of this computer. I really want to show you, like, you know, the rest of stuff, like configuring the things and updating and testing the games in this PC. And the cool thing is that the way I'm streaming, to be honest, it has nothing to do with the computer. So I can actually use the full potential of this computer, and it's not affecting the rest. So I'll check you out in a minute. Not in a minute, in a while. So hey, peace. See you later.